Hey family, how are we feeling today? Yesterday I was talking to my sister. She lives over in Europe, and we were talking about a little bit of divine masculine, divine feminine energy, and it started me to think about how I was. You know, we all lead a path and we all walk our path, but I wind up learning things really early. I'm sure we all have, but I know I have. Um, I was one of those kids that lost my virginity late in life, and then also in a very short time realized that I'm not into that karmic energy. You know, I'm not into subduing myself and taking away that divine energy that I am. So we got on this conversation about always. I was always in the hermit mode. I was always to myself. A lot of times she would always ask me, when are you going to find somebody? And I never knew really what to say. Because I was always brought up with this idea that you're always going to marry your high school sweetheart or someone from those days, back in your youth. But I've traveled to so many places that I would never be around the people that were in my youth. I was able to grow up in the United States, and then I moved out to Europe, and I was living there for such a long time that that's where I had my adult experiences. Over there, I started to see that they love spirituality a little bit more than we do, but they were also in that idea of some people in religion, some people were into energy, some people were into chakras. But something inside of me would always, bells and whistles would go off and let me know what I believe and what I see is true. Now, throughout the years, I've noticed that when I was younger growing up, that I would get into that karmic energy where I wanted to impress women and get to know them. But then I was always kind of nervous about, am I going to find the right one? So I never approached the relationship as something I wanted to manipulate, because I always wanted to see if it was the right one, to see if it was my divine feminine, because I know I'm a divine masculine. And I've always walked that path. Not that I knew it, but I've always walked that path. That's what spirit just kept leading me towards, to understand that there's an emperor and an empress inside all of us. When I was raised in religion and following that, I understood that there's a divinity within us, and we're all made from that same image. So I wanted to know what that image was. So subconsciously, I already knew that I was going to be walking the path as every single other prophet. I was not going to try to obtain achievements that I saw the populace doing. Now, when I was young, in high school, people would date each other, and then they would be more promiscuous. They wanted to get into that sex idea, and people were talking about first base, second base, third base, home run. I was so young, I didn't understand it. It took me a while before I did understand it. And when I did, then I thought, okay, so what's next after that? Because there's got to be something better than just achieving that. But throughout the years, I saw that we were all put or guided into, what's the word I would like to use? We were guided into a design that was created by the system. This design was going to create the person you didn't want to be. For instance, from 0 to 5, when we're young, we're in that spiritual being, even though we can't reason and understand things, but we're in that spiritual being. We're sitting there, we accept one another, we love one another. The next day will be a better day. And we do that automatically without even learning it. There's a love that we have and a connection we have to our parents and the people around us and our community that's just natural. I saw that when I got older, it started to disappear. It wasn't so natural as what I thought it should be. And I've always walked my life accepting everyone for any reason. It didn't matter. You were my brother, you were my sister. I never saw you as achievement or accomplishment. I just saw that you are definitely another part of me and another of myself because you were created in that image. So I've always walked with this energy that made people feel comfortable and at the same time made other people feel uncomfortable. I've always walked in what you can call as an emperor, and divine feminine, divine masculine, we all have this emperor and empress. In religion, we are created in the same image, so we have this divinity, and it depends on how we walk in that divinity and how we treasure it and protect it. I've always known that I was divine and I was going to protect it beyond all costs. So my first couple of years, teenage years, I didn't know the lingo, the game on how to get to know women and build myself up in a way that I was going to be a player. But I saw guys around me that knew how to do it. So I'd watch and see, and I saw that they would just keep going through different relationships. So I thought, okay, that's not something I want to do. But of course, I bit into it for maybe the first 5 to 8 years before I realized, it's not really getting me anywhere. I don't know about you guys, but I knew it wasn't getting me anywhere. So it got to a point one day where I said to myself, I'm not going to go into these relationships anymore. Whoever I meet is my brother and my sister. So I did. And I remember going out, a friend invited me to their birthday party. It was in a bar. And everyone's sitting there, having fun, dancing, drinking. And this lady approached me and she says, "Oh, wow, you're a good looking man. I'd like to get to know you." I said, "Well, I appreciate it, but I don't just get to know anyone, but I'm willing to have a conversation with you. But I'm not trying to take you home. I'm not trying to do anything with you because that's not what I want." So she looked at me kind of weird and she decided, okay, we're going to have this conversation anyway. At the end of the conversation, she let me know that she was attracted to me, that she wanted to really pursue a relationship with me. But something inside knew that, okay, you just got to know me for who I am, what I am, and whatever words I'm using seems to please you. But that's not what I do. So to explain it, to make a short story about it, we just got to know each other. I made an excuse that I had to go get something, and I walked out of the party. My friend, he called me the next day and said, "Hey, you disappeared." And I said, "Yeah, well, I wasn't really feeling it. I knew it was your birthday party. I left you a gift, but I just wasn't feeling it." And I went on my way. We hung up. We went on my way. A couple of months later, I wind up meeting this lady. And we started talking again. And she told me that she went through a couple of relationships. And she never met somebody that had my mindset. And I said, okay, well, that's very nice. That's very cool. I really appreciate it. But I wasn't looking for any type of compliment because I know that I stand out. I've always stood out. And I could walk into the room and say absolutely nothing, just keep still, and I always stand out. There was something spiritual about me that attracted people. And I know that that's what us divine masculine have, especially the divine feminine. I could see that too. But I was never really around divine feminine. I see them at a distance, or maybe they're already married to somebody, but I can see what the divine feminine would be in my eyes, and I would search for that. But my whole life, I never really came across it. I came close to getting to know people like that, but everyone was always in a relationship. So I'm not one of those home wreckers. I would just see it and be like, okay, this is also an attribute that I like in that divine feminine. So I thought, maybe one day I'll meet her. Turns out I haven't met her yet, and I'm not really searching for, but it would be nice to meet that divine feminine. So throughout the years, I started to just talk to people around me. I started to talk to people that I would get to know, and we'd always have a discussion, or someone would always ask me, "Oh, do you have children? Are you with somebody? Are you married?" And I said, "No, that wasn't in the cards for me." And they'd all be kind of perplexed. But there was something inside me that knew that even as a teenager, that I'm not the one to chase, and I'm also not the one to subdue you. If it was going to magically happen, it was going to magically happen. But I grew up in that era with love at first sight, Mother Goose, romantic love, and even though we didn't experience it, that's the idea that they gave us to pave our way into finding, I guess, our love or our relationship or our path. I love it when the bells go off when I start speaking. It's like the divine, it's like the spirit just starts speaking. There was always something inside of me that I knew that no matter what I touch turns to gold, whatever words I use turns to gold. And that was just something that I knew. I didn't understand it till I got older. When I started to understand that, then I started to see the way the world was and the way people are with one another. I watched my brothers and sisters get married and be unhappy in their relationships. I watched other people get married and be unhappy in their relationships. And everyone was always wanting a better relationship, but they weren't also searching for better relationships. And that's when I started to realize, oh, that's the reason why I always go into hermit mode, because I'm not here to really find someone to better myself. I'm really here to heal myself, fall in love with myself, to look back and say, this is who I am. This is what I am. And this is who I am automatically and authentically. I'm just in my organic state. So that's the reason why I healed, to be more attractive to myself, for the sake of looking into the mirror and enjoying that person. Now, whenever I go out, I always hear compliments from men, women, it doesn't matter who, that there's something really kind about myself, or the way I present myself, or the way I hold myself. They say I do it well. I'm just authentically me, so I don't know about what is doing well. I just know that this is who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and I love who I am. Now, in this day and era, I've noticed that throughout the years, there was a design created from when I was, well, for a long time ago. But when I was young, I thought it was in my time. I thought that this design was created to take the spiritual being and put them to the side and create a inauthentic being. And that's when I understood the system of education, economics, entertainment, labor, law, religion, politics, sex, war. Then I started to see that we were under attack 365 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in those areas. And I knew that everyone that was around me would always be in love with entertainers, performers, anyone that was in the spotlight because they saw that that was what they wanted, something divine. But the spotlight that I have is within myself. And as soon as I interject that onto you, as soon as I shine through my eyes, as soon as I shine through my words, that's when you seem to understand what I'm carrying inside. Now, I would never say anyone's fallen in love with me because of that, because I've never experienced that. I know they felt more comfortable. They felt more secure. That's why, like I said, I've always saw you as a brother or a sister. So when you see me and I start speaking to you, you feel comfortable enough to know I'm your either big brother or younger brother. It doesn't matter in age. I know that I was an adult before my parents, or more than my parents were when I was in a young age. I knew that I could reason and understand things that they couldn't at a young age. But when I explained it, I could see the anger in my mother and father's face because a child is sitting there teaching them a lesson. And it never dawned on me till I was older. And then I realized, wow, I've been doing this my whole entire life. Everywhere I go, no matter what I do, there is that divine creator within me. Now, when I stopped, when I stopped walking in that karmic mentality of, just dating for the sake of dating, I noticed that I put myself in this category of celibacy automatically. It wasn't something that I chose. It was just, I'm not one to believe that you have to physically be with someone in order to spiritually and mentally be with them. If you can't spiritually and mentally be with them, then there's nothing extra in that physical. Then it's just like working out at the gym. And I've noticed that that's how it seemed with my friends. They'd work out at the gym and then they wind up being with someone. And next thing you know, it wasn't enough. And then they wanted to be with someone else. 1 second. My excuses, I saw the battery was running out. I had to just plug it in. So I watched them jump from one person to the other. And then I started seeing that also with the women that were in my life. They would talk about being in a relationship, it didn't work out, went to the next one. And I would start to think, well, okay, you went through 8 different relationships in almost like maybe a couple of months' time. And you still haven't gotten to the point where you know what you want at this moment. So there was part of me that started to see that whatever it is that's designed for us to stray away from the spiritual human being is in full effect and has been in full effect for a long time. As a little boy, I used to listen to the teenagers in my area talk about, oh, wow, that's a beautiful girl. Oh, wow, that's a beautiful man. I wonder if they have a car, or I wonder if they have a job, or I wonder what they're like. But not one of them was trying to see what they're spiritually like or mentally like. They liked the outside of the person and later on realized that there's nothing inside that they're matched with. So I started to understand that at an early age, that that's something that you want to do, or for me anyway, that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to spiritually and mentally be attached to someone before we wind up creating or having a family. But that's what I believed it was. When I'd watch television, I'd see it's totally different when I was watching television as a child, because people would jump into a relationship or start holding hands and kissing only because they liked the outside surface of the person, which is nice. It's great. I mean, it's just like a little kid with the toy, like, oh, I want that toy. Oh, I love this toy. And then a couple of minutes later, it's just like, okay, now I want to go outside and play. You really didn't love that toy. You didn't even know what it was to love anything. There's something that we do when we're young, and it's automatic. And it's natural. There's a natural vibration. And we don't encompass that all throughout our life. which we should. We definitely should. We should want to see that spirituality and that divine connection that we have. But I know that people like it when I speak from the heart. People enjoy it when I speak authentically. They can see something in me, but I can see something in them, and I see it spiritually. And when they see it within me, they understand that I'm divinely connected with the spirituality that embraces them in whole. There's been a couple of times where women mistook the idea that, oh, he's in love with me. I love everybody. I'm not in love with anybody. I don't think I've ever been in love with anybody, because that has nothing to do with my path. My path is to be spiritually and keep on walking and love the whole world and change the whole world, because I know I'm a creator. And then later on, when I was living in Europe, I understood about the system of the chakras and the system of the sacral chakra and the idea of what we secrete inside here that goes down the spinal cord and then comes back up and then stays dormant for 2 days, and on the third day it rises, and then we secrete this anointed oil, is what they call in religion or spirituality. That is something that I've been doing my whole life, so I've always been a creator. Normally, when we use the sacral chakra, we create a child. I've been able to create in so many different ways spiritual children, which are my work, my writing, my books, my videos, my business. I was able to do all of that. And the family that I was around never enjoyed that. They saw that I was benefiting a little bit too much, only because naturally it would come to me, and they couldn't stand it. Then I understood more around the lines that people are karmics in my life, mainly karmics. There's very few divine people that were surrounding me as I was growing up. As I got older and I finally got into the state where I'm only going to walk in my divinity, then I started to see more earth angels. Then I started to see more healers, more light workers, more indigo children, more star seeds. That's when I understood, okay, that's the family that I'm supposed to be in. But right now, the world is being infected by all these organizations, and there is a war on every biological being and anything that is living. And they're trying to infect it. They're trying to enslave it. They're trying to do away with it. And sometimes I don't know what to do. For me, I know what to do, but I don't know what to do for the rest of the world, except to reach out for them. I know that I'm a healer, and healers are not here to heal you, but they're here to awaken you and shine the light on you so that you can heal yourself, because you're a healer as well, whether you believe it or not. You are a divine feminine, a divine masculine. You are a god and a goddess. But the thing is that we were always taught that those are bad things to think about. We're not supposed to see ourselves in those high vibrational frequencies. And that's the reason why we're easy to turn away and give it to the invisible unknown, even though that invisible unknown is in tune with us and working through us, and we are the source. We're easily able to give it away. Just like the system. For the system, we easily give it away to governments, politicians, oligarchies, and believe that, yes, they're the ones that's supposed to choose what we do. But it isn't. you are a divine being. You do not need to be governed. You are already governed with the source, and that source is inside of you. You need to know how beautiful you are. You need to know how powerful you are. But you're not going to understand that unless you get into hermit mode and heal the things that you need to heal. Now, I know I have everything in life except for that divine feminine. And one day I'm sure I'll find that divine feminine, but I believe she'll find me because I won't be looking. She's going to pretty much have to be like the idea of the cave woman, hit me over the head with a bat and like, you're mine. That's what I believe. She'll find me. I know she won't be hitting me over the head with a bat, but that's the divine feminine that I talk about, where I know I don't have to chase. This one doesn't have to chase, and we already magically fit. Now, there are attractive women out there, but the thing is, you just can't be attracted to looks. You really just can't, because there's a heart inside, there's a brain inside, there's organs inside, and all of that is attached to something that's invisible, unknown. We call it, some people call it God. You know, some people call it source. Some people call it divine. I just call it divine, and I know I have a spiritual, divine mother and father most high. I know that for a fact. That's me. Whatever it is that you believe is what you believe, but you need to start believing that you are something special and you have what's inside of you. You are created from that image. We are celestial beings. We are cosmic children, and we are born from a cosmic mother and a cosmic father. So there's a connection that we all have, every single one of us. And we need to start being more authentic, more in our organic state. We need to admire more what's inside of us than what's outside of us. I know that when you go into hermit mode, you start healing from the inside out. When you're young, you're taught to look at something on the outside, like it, and attach yourself to it. But you remove yourself from what you come here with. Remember, your parents, they created the body, whether or not they created it in thought that, hey, they're going to create a child. They created a body. And when they created a body, that energy that they were in pulled you in, pulled that celestial, astral, energetic being, pulled you right inside there. And you came here to walk this path, to walk this path in your divine nature, in your good character, and understand that you are here to make a difference. So I just wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know that I will always love you. I still love you in Lakesh, and I'll speak to you soon.